Welcome to you friends in Learn AngularJS from Scratch to Advanced. Up to this we have learned about the configuration, installation of the AngularJS, and we have also learned all about the configuration files in AngularJS. Today we will learn the template driven form. There are two types of form in AngularJS. One is the template driven form and second is the model driven form. Model driven form is also called the reactive form. So today basically we will focus on the template driven form. So template driven form, in this approach, the AngularJS creates a model for us. We will not create a model. This responsibility is done by the AngularJS, and AngularJS creating the model by using some directives. But before going to use the template driven form, we will use some library that will be the beautify our application. We will use one of the most important library that is called the Bootstrap in our application. How to use the Bootstrap with the AngularJS? There are two ways to use the Bootstrap in AngularJS. First way is go to the Bootstrap site, download the Bootstrap, store it in our application as assets, reference it to the index.html and use it. But this is not the good way. The good way is we will use the Bootstrap file using the npm. So we will install the Bootstrap by using the npm. Then we will reference the Bootstrap file in angular.cli file. But there is no need to reference the Bootstrap file in angular.cli file because there is already one file that is called style.css. This is reference to the angular.cli file. So we will not reference it. We will just import the Bootstrap file in in style.css file. So what is the steps we follow in a template driven form? First, we will add a forms module in app.module file. We will import it and we will add it. Then we will create a class that is called the employee class. This is only for creating the model of the employee class. Next is we will create a component that is called the add employee component or register employee component in AngularJS, and next step will be using the directive ngModel group and ngForm. After that we will have a validation in AngularJS because AngularJS providing a very good feature for validating our controls. Then we will learn about the binding in AngularJS. There are two types of binding in AngularJS. One is the one-way binding and second is the two-way binding. In one-way binding, AngularJS use the interpolation operator or property binding. In two-way binding, AngularJS use this banana in a box notation. But in this two-way binding, AngularJS also use the ngModel to in a template-driven form to bind the control with the model property. There are three choices for using the ngModel in a binding with the control. One choice is using the ngModel with the name property. There is nothing written before or after ngModel. It is the plain one, and if there is no bracket before or after the ngModel, then it will search the name property and try to bind the value of the control in a name property. And second is the property binding. This is the one-way binding. If we will write here ngModel, then this will work as the one-way binding. And third way is the two-way binding. This is called the ngModel banana in a box notation. And after binding, we will learn the validation in AngularJS. So if you will apply the ngModel in the control and you will run the application, AngularJS apply three classes. One is the ngUntouched, second is the ngPristine, third is the ngValid. If you are not applying any directives like as the required. If you have a required directives, then by default ngValid is changed with the ngInvalid, because whenever the application will run, there were no value in that control, and that control is the required. So this ngValid will be changed with the ngInvalid. Once you will focus in the control and just click outside, it means the lost the focus from the control, then ngTouched is changed by ngUntouched is changed by ngTouched. ngPristine, if we will write there, then it will be changed by the ngDirty. So now let's go for the real example. So we will have the employee registration system. Here first we will install the Bootstrap library. So first you will load your application in Visual Studio Code or any editor. Then you will write the npm install bootstrap shape. So this will install the Bootstrap in your application, and this is installing the Bootstrap in our application. And when after that we will see here inside there is no Bootstrap here, but after installing the this has installed the Bootstrap. So we will refresh the ngModule, and here we will see the Bootstrap folder. Now let's see here this Bootstrap. Previously you are not able to see this Bootstrap folder. Now it will register inside your package.json file. So you will go and see this Bootstrap. Before installation of the Bootstrap, there were no Bootstrap reference given inside the dependency in the package.json. Now One possibility is that you will go to the angular.cli and register the bootstrap there. Otherwise, here uh, here we will see that the style.css is already registered. So there is no need to register inside the AngularJS Angular CLI. We will import the bootstrap file inside that style.css. So here we will import it, just uncomment it, and we have imported. But yes, we have imported this in our application. Now the next step is just open this form and uh, run this application. So first see and just run this application ng serve. Oh, this will open the application in port number 4200. Just wait, it is compiling. First it will compile, and after that this open the port localhost 4200. Yes, it is compiling. It's compiled successfully. So yes, this is compiled successfully. You can see here, and this is the compiled application running in your browser. Welcome to app. Welcome to learn architecture and code by Jaising. So next step is just uh, stop this by using the Control C and terminate this. Now we will remove everything from app.component here, and we will have a div. In this div we will use the class container of Bootstrap. This is class container, and you can write here whatever you would like. Now we will start the employee registration form designing. So basically whenever we will create any form, we will create the component for that form, we will create the HTML for that form, we will also create the style or CSS file, and one of the spec file that is used for the testing. And after creating any component, we must have to register that component in app.module file. So there are many steps that we must have to do whenever we are creating a component. But all these steps automatically done by the AngularJS for us by using the command ng GC, C or component, G for generate, 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 component component, and component is add, employee. This will generate the component inside the app folder. Here we can also write the class for generating the class, service for generating the service, pipe for generating the pipes. So we will right now generating the add employee component. First we will see here there is no add employee component imported. only one app component is imported, nothing reference or nothing import like as the add employee. We will click enter, press enter, and AngularJS is creating all for us. So here you can see it's import the newly created component, and it's also add inside the declaration section. Now uh, come to the terminal. Here you can see that the your this command. Let me move to your command. You have written ng generate component add employee. This will generate one HTML, one spec, one component, and one CSS file. And this will also generate the add employee folder inside the app folder. Here you can see that this is your app folder and this is your add employee folder. So you will not do or you will not register anything else whenever you are creating the service or you are creating the pipes, classes, or the component. AngularJS will do, and here it is explicitly written that update app module. So it has updated the app module. Now come to the style class. Just close it, close the welcome, close the app module, and now open your add employee class. Remove this from here and div here, write your form. Here design this form group, and this is label form for form group. Now come, this is label, and now this is input, type text, class form control. So you have done your designing. Here you will see the selector. The selector is app add employee. You will call this selector here inside your app.component. This is the selector for component, and if you will run this, you can see that you have designed it by using the Bootstrap. So run ng serve o, and you will see it that it is running successfully. The second instance of this is created and it is running. Here you can see Webpack compiled successfully, and you can see name and here one of the control. It means you have done it successfully. Now, as we have discussed that for the template driven form, we must have to add the forms module in app.module. So come to the app.module. Now import forms module, from Angular forms. Now this module, use this module here. Now you have done this work and come to your, just close your app.component.html file, come to your add employee form and go to the screen. There is nothing to change. Here you will write one label. This is called the add employee, and this is done. This is compiled. Nothing, there is no need to change anything else. And now come here. So we have also discussed that we will use the, here come to here we will use the ng form, ngModel group. So how to use ng form, ngModel group? Here we have declared the emp form. This is called the template reference variable, and we will use the ng form directive. So this form is accessed on the template by using the emp form. Now we have run this application, and now we have used the ngModel. So there are three ways of using the ngModel. First, we will use the ngModel with name property. Name is equal to emp name. Now we will have we will just have one span tag so that we can see the value here. Emp form dot value, and we will use the one JSON pipe for seeing the emp form value. Now come to the screen, and here AngularJS is created this model for us, and as per the name of this control, AngularJS create the key for this control. If we will write JAISINGH, this is my name, Jaising, and here we can see the reflection. If we will delete here, then there is nothing. Let me just go upward and write this one, because we will not bother for this. So here JAISINGH, this is my name, and this is reflecting. If we will deleting, it means the two-way binding is working properly for us. Now we will have a one another input type submit, SUBMIT submit, value SUBMIT value is submit, and we will use the Bootstrap class for designing it. class is equal to btn primary. Save the application, open. This is created for us. Now this is one way of using the ngModel for binding. This is called the interpolation operator, and this is one way binding, and this is called the ngModel. One choice of the ngModel for two-way binding. Now we will uh, add a method inside our form for submitting the form, and we would like to see what is going on behind the scene, means what is going on inside the component if we will submit our form at this stage. So here we will use the ng submit. Ng. Now come to the PowerPoint. Here handle form submission using the ng submit. So we will use the ng submit, and we will assign one method, add employee, and emp form dot value. Now we will create one method inside the component. So go to the component and you will create a method, add employee, and this is called the value, and the type of this value is forms module. Now go to here and write the console dot log, and you will write the form data. Sorry, this is single quote, form data, and write here the value. So we can see the form data value. Here emp form, the name is wrong, so that it is showing the wrong one. Now we will go and open our console and write here name and click on the submit. Yes, AngularJS creates a model, and key is the name that we have given for this control, and value is the value of this control. Now we will see the second choice for using the ngModel in our application. For second choice, like the property binding, first we will create a class, employee class, and then we will try to bind it. Now we will create a employee class, just terminate this, and ngGCL employee. So this will create the employee class at the root, and here this is exported. Now ID is number type, name is string type, email is string type, and address is the object type. Address contains address 1. String type. Address 2. Sorry. ADDRE. Address 2 is also string type. Now we will create the constructor for this class. Constructor, we will pass the values as object, value as object, default this, object dot assign this dot values. Here now we have created the employee class as a model, and we will use this employee class in add employee. So here you can create the property empl employee. Yes, it is imported. You can see this is imported inside your component. So you will create employee, type is employee, this is of the type employee. Now you will instantiate the employee. This dot employee is equal to new employee, and here nothing. This is okay. So you have instantiated. If you will not instantiate, then this employee property is undefined and you will get error there. Now come to the employee.component.html and try to bind employee dot name. Here IntelliSense is working properly, and run this application again. If you will run this application, so ngserve, it will compile. Here this is the second choice for using the ngModel, and in this choice this is the one-way binding. I am trying to show you the one-way binding in using the ngModel as the property binding. Come here and just refresh this one. If you will write the name like a Jai Singh and submit it. So this is one-way binding. Let me check it. Here employee.form. Then you will see there, if we will write the employee in the console.log, console console.log emplo employee as employee, this dot employee. Now we will write here, because we have used the one-way binding, So we will not get any change in employee object. Then how do you check that your one-way binding is working or not? So you will go inside here and you will assign a name for the employee.name here. This dot employee dot name, this dot employee dot name is equal to this dot employee dot name is equal to Sanjay, and here come to here, yes, Sanjay is here. But if you will change Sanjay Prasash and submit, then it will write only the Sanjay, not Sanjay Prakash, because one-way binding work from controller to UI, not from the UI to controller. Okay, so am I right? If I am right, then it will run the it will write the Sanjay in employee model, not as the Sanjay Prakash. Yes, name is only Sanjay. It means it is not binded here. Now come to the third way. Third way is, let me close the employee. Third way is the two-way binding, means the banana in a box notation we will use here. This is called the banana in a box notation, and we will use this notation. Now demonstrate this notation. Yes, Sanjay is bind here, but we have written here the Sanjay Prakash, and we have used the two-way binding in AngularJS. So if I'll submit this form, the employee object will show the name as the Sanjay Prakash here. Let me comment out this one, otherwise you will confuse. So Sanjay, now come to the Sanjay Prakash and submit it. Then first it is Sanjay, but after changing the name, it is the Sanjay Prakash. So this is all about the three flavor of ngModel binding. Now let us create a employee form here. So we will just copy it and we will paste it, remove this value and name as email. This is email, and this is also email. This is the form control. Here we will write then we will write the address, so we will write here address, and this is the address class. Okay, now we will write a span here We will use the template reference variable, and inside the name we will use hash emp name. This is called the template reference variable. With template reference variable, we will check the class, the AngularJS apply by default. Here CLA class list. Okay. Now run the application. Run the application localhost 4200, and we will see in this control, that is called the name control, and in this name control there is three class attached by the AngularJS. Is first one is ngUntouched, second is ngPristine, and third is ngValid. Now if we will focus on the control name control and just lost the focus, then this will be changed ngTouched, and this is ngTouched. Now let me remove this assignment. Okay, this is done. Now this is the focus, and we will last the focus here and come to here. This is ngTouched. Now ngUntouched is changed to the ngTouched, and ngPristine and ngValid, because we are not using any validation directive, so it will be always valid. But here after writing something, it has changed to the ngDirty. It means AngularJS is explicitly saying the classes for validation. There is nothing to do for validation in AngularJS. We will use all these classes. First we will go here and we will write the required. This field is required. Now we have used one directive here. This is the required field. So come to here and go to email. Then it means it is invalid field. We can this field is required, and this is invalid. Then how we will show the validation error inside this control? Let me create one style for this one so that we can very easily see ngValid. ngValid, we will create one ngValid class as we have seen here, ngValid and ngInvalid. So ngValid class border left color is green, border left width is 5 pixels. Now copy and paste it again and write here ngInvalid. Here you will see here ngInvalid class is applied, and you will change this color from green to red. Now open your application. You will see these two controls are valid, and here one is invalid. If you will put anything in this control, then this control is also valid. Now if form is invalid, then we will disable this submit button control. So let's come to here and close this CSS. If form is invalid, it means we will disable it by using the property binding. Disabled. What disabled? Not template reference variable emp form, emp form, emp form dot valid. If emp form is not valid, then it is disabled. Now let's see. Yes, this is disabled. This is required, and due to there is no any value inside this control, then this is disabled. We will put any character inside this and we can see that this is enabled. Now come to the email field. So email field is not, this is also required. We will required, and pattern is equal to, let me copy the pattern form. Here this is pattern. Now come to here, something is wrong in our form. Here one, now you will see it. Yes, so address and email, but we did not write anything in address because the name is same it, so that this is disabled. Now this is valid, this email is invalid, and this is invalid. Email is required and name is required, so that this is invalid. But if we will change the pattern required here, required field, we will change this required field, then this is valid. But you cannot put any invalid email here. Write the name, then come to email. Yes, you can see here this is red. If I'll select this one, this is my email address, this is valid email address. So if you will put the address here and you will go inside the binding, then you will see, just press the F12, name is the property name is the undefined, name of undefined. So now here we will see that this control is required, so this is invalid, now it is valid. Here we can see that this is invalid email address. We will put this and here we will write and just press on F12. This is our address. So this is our address and we will submit it. You will see that here inside the address, address 1 is created and known. So you have created all those things, no need to do this. Now come to here, address 1 is undefined, so because you did not define it, so this is one approach to define it. Otherwise you can see, you can define it inside the constructor of that one. So Right now this is okay. You will submit this form. Jasing, this is my email, and now submit this form. You will see address. Address 1 is the address 2 is this one. Now email is this and name is this. So this is the template driven form. In this template driven form, we have used the ngModel, ngModel, ngForm, ngSubmit, form module, imply, and how to use the Bootstrap. We have used all those things. So this is all about the template driven form. Thanks for watching my video. In next video, I will show how to send the data to the server side by using the service.